One of the systems that you'll use to control both internal communications and the article list on the website is the post system. You'll find that here in the right-hand menu. Posts are articles, and they can be multi-purpose. They can be for the external website here under the news section to post new things here. Those are held in the post system. And to internally communicate with your team, you can also post things like this. This welcome message here that I've written for you is a post. And it's a special one. It doesn't show on the website, but it's internal. So you can post messages to your team like this, and they can be distributed by role and category and a whole bunch of other things. So you'll find the post system here. You need post admin to edit these. Seeing them is available to everybody, depending on their role. If they're supposed to be able to see that post, they should be, without any special permission. So, but editing them and creating new ones requires post admin. So in the dashboard, once you have post admin, you'll see the post list, and you'll see now all the things that are in the system. Here's the one that I was just referring to, the one that I created. And here's all the articles. So when you want to create a post, click New Post. And here's what you have control over in the post system. The type, image, video, text. They all are articles. These control what is at the top of them. So most of our external articles are image, and that's what creates this picture above them. That'll also do that in the internal posts if you do it, if you create an image post. And then video. Video does the same thing, except the thing above the article is a video. And you can post those videos on YouTube or Vimeo, and we link the thing here so that when it loads, it uses Vimeo or YouTube's built-in player to play it. And that's the most efficient way without storing a bunch of heavy video files and distributing them to control your content. Now, when you select video, you'll notice this changes on the right a little bit. Video here, it explains kind of what I just did, YouTube or Vimeo only. You'll just post the embed URL from YouTube or Vimeo here instead of uploading a file. Image, you can select multiple or one. If you select multiple, there'll be a little slideshow at the top, and that slideshow will be on the read page as well. And then your actual article content, you have a title, abstract. That's usually a short version, just a few words about what the thing is about. You don't have to do this. It'll just use the first sentence or two of the content. If you don't put an abstract, the author will default to you, but you can change that, to whatever you want. And here's your content. You may embed images directly in the content by pasting them in here. You can do a bunch of things that you might recognize from like Microsoft Word. There's bold, underline, italic, links, justifications, highlighting all the image embedments and links here, and special characters and whatnot. But this functions very much like Microsoft Word or Google Docs. You can Control V, Control C, all the shortcut keys that you're used to with other text editors work here. So text content. Okay. So that's the article content itself on the left. On the right, you'll have, as I explained, the image selector already. Start date, you can schedule this out if you want a post to go live, on June 1st, for example. You can put a date in there for it to launch. If you leave this blank, it'll be immediately available. You can also set a date for it to expire if you want it to drop off after X date. If you're announcing an event and that event has passed, for example, it's good to put an expiration date so you don't have to remember to go take it down. Authorization roles. So this defaults to staff member because most people in the system with any kind of access in here are staff members. You don't have to do that. If you'd like a public post, you would remove staff member and like that. You can add multiple roles, and let's do staff member and admin. I may have mentioned in other parts of the tutorial here that admin gets everything. This is one place where it is an exception to that. We don't give admins all posts because admins don't necessarily want to see everything as far as like the stuff you post. You may want to post something just for a specific role, and the admins don't need to be bothered with that content. So we don't show them everything in this context for that reason. So if you want admins to see something, you do need to specifically call them out. Admins can also be staff members, so that sometimes if you make all your admins also staff members, you can just put staff member, but just know that it doesn't happen that way by default. Admin can be just an admin and not a staff member. And then you may have other roles, but this is generally good to get your entire company audience. We may make new roles for you for specific levels of management or whatever you want, and we can target those roles as you need it. Parent post, you can create a hierarchy of posts if you'd like. One might be an introduction to something, and then you would go have a deep dive like in sections. You can have a post have a parent. If you're not using a hierarchical data structure, don't worry about this. You can just leave it blank. Categories, there's only one category in here right now. It's the blog. The posts on the dashboard just don't have a category, and you don't have to have one. You may manage the categories here. They're very simple. They're just a name and a description. And I'll show you that in a little more detail because there's one thing to note in there. And then this is it. To make sure that it shows at all, it needs to be enabled. This is checked by default. If it's on the public website, you want to make sure that it is public. Likes enabled. This will let people react to it, like it and dislike it. Mini post. This is a mini post. It doesn't have a read more button. It's just the information on it, and it shows the entirety of the post on the dashboard. If you don't want to have people have to bother to click through and read more, mini post is what you want. If it's longer than it can reasonably fit in one of these little cards here, you just want to leave that unchecked. And then pinned is to make sure that something is on the top of the news feed on your dashboard all the time. You would pin it in position 1. Sometimes you can have something that, regardless of what anyone else posts, you want people to read first. A very urgent announcement, something they have to know about, and you don't want it to be pushed down by other stuff that's posted afterwards. This is when you might pin it. You can use a 0 or 1 if you'd like. It doesn't matter. 0 or 1 would be the first position. And if you really want to pin it in another position, you can. We haven't found a real use for that yet, like pinning it in position 2. But it's theoretically possible you might want to do that. So you could pin it in position 2. And that's it. You just click save and it'll go live either immediately or when you have selected based on your date. Selections here. And that's it. When you do post it, there'll be a little bell here for the people that are in these roles. So I'll just do one and then I'll delete it here. Not going to make it public, not going to make it pinned. And I will select text because I don't want to, you know what, we'll do an image just to see what it looks like. Now you want to choose images that make sense to show here. Most of these probably will look odd in the little box above. But I've got one here. I'm going to upload a new image. It's on my desktop. It's called Welcome. welcome spelled wrong, doesn't matter. And when you upload it, it'll be at the bottom here. Oh, I already did it once. And I'm going to select the medium version of this. Large, why not? And it'll say one image selected here. So when I post this, you'll see it immediately on the dashboard because I did not specify any dates. So here's my post. And since it's not a mini post, it has this read more button and the image at the top. And you'll notice I got a little notice here that says new post, and then whatever the content is. When they click to read it, that will go away, or they can manually dismiss those posts. So somebody who has not been paying attention might have a lot of these little numbers up here. But it's intended to make sure everyone reads the stuff that is targeted to their role. Okay, any questions? Reach out to the dev team. We're here to help, and good luck.